are free to introduce local content. But what kind of local content will you introduce that will not overshoot the number of units that is allowed for each program? The justification is that we want outcome-based clarity. If I can assure you, even if you don't know conceptual clarifications, definition, curriculum alignment. Curriculum alignment ensures coherence. How soon I can finish it. Defined as expected knowledge. This is the attitude and skills. Their skills, their capacity. I have talked about set aside. I used to have our 2 ruffians that will come to class with rubber paper. Before I can see you, go and grab your hair. This is money. He didn't take my money. He went, cut his hair to sight, and came back. So this is part of the things we are going to do. Their attitudes and skills promote holistic growth through balanced measurable objectives. Then pedagogical innovation to do more. Here, structured learning goals for measurable outcomes, aiding alignment despite critiques of its linearity. Because we are not employed as teachers. But when you come into the classroom session, some of those things are quite useful, and it's a mistake that we get it at that time. And of course, psychomotor. So much. So I devoted quality time looking for a teacher that will teach me calculus. You must be able to differentiate, and you must be able to integrate. So when you have this kind of thing, you have to do critical thinking. Then, how do you feel when you see it? And of course, then there is also the aspect of backward design. In backward design, before you even think about what to do, you already know where you're going to. This is the end product I'm going to. You are now using the end result, which is the learning outcome, to prepare the process for getting there. I want to produce an electric vehicle in electrical engineering. You are seeing the electric vehicle, but it has to be strong only when you align your thoughts, your views. For me, every morning when I wake up, apart from WhatsApp, methods are boost engagement, because the elders are supposed to lead. Without it, cannot solve any problem. Gone are the days where you want to ask students projects, ongoing projects of 7 scholars or 7 groups, 7 cluster groups in the UI. So far. I now do questions, which means that it's going to use this, and they were surprised because I was introduced as doctor, not professor. They were surprised at the level at which I was engaging them, using my own experience at my local level. So these are the things that we should be able to do. Then collaborative experiential methods. Experiential learning through projects and fieldwork. You must engage our students. And if you produce a graduate, the graduate mirrors you in the field. If the graduate goes outside, you cannot perform. The graduate is not the one to be blamed. It is you. And Mr. So is in your department. And you are a product of Solo School. Where Dr. Louis is director. Please, don't allow him to be blamed. Assessment as a tool for alignment. How can you teach without assessing your students? Some of us do not even do CA. That is bad. We only rely on the CA done by the ICT Center. But can that one cover the syllabus? You can't set questions, you know what you have taught, and the level of at the time you are preparing ICT questions. But you must be able to engage your students periodically in test quizzes and see to what extent they are comprehending with what you are teaching them. Curriculum redesign approaches. We must agree there is a need for it. There is a gap, and there is a need to fill that gap by redesigning our curriculum, and that should start with clear outcomes. When I say start with clear outcomes, again, this MBC curriculum, if you get back to a department or open it, for every topic in every course, it will tell you a learning outcome, learning objective that at the end of this topic or course, these are what you are expected to know. If you have not been doing that, please start doing that. It will enable all of us to appreciate the fact whether we're directing or not. And one lecturer from Ilaro, whom some of us copy this thing, I will not forget, is the late Ademola Adebayo. That's why I brought it. I'm here with it too. This is simplified economics, volume 2, which is macro. We have volume 1, which is micro. Every topic, introducing that topic with the learning outcomes or learning objectives. And that is the way NBT wants us to go. If we are not a leader, please let us do it. And I just say this, let me check, to check yourself whether you are doing the right thing or wrong thing. Okay, self-capacity building. I think OGTEC is doing very well with this. Since I came here, I've seen so many places of it. There was a lecture we had down the other time, and of course, I think everybody has benefited. In the Assessment brought in our own training tools, and this one is also part of capacity building. Nobody can deny the fact that we're exposed to development programs, but the area where we need to add is professional development, as we shall support successful outcome and high curriculum implementation. Move forward. You know that NBT requires of us that whenever they come for assessment, they want us to show our diplomates, a report from our diplomates, employer, how employers of labor feel about the quality of our products. We don't jump to that in the room, and I'm sure my lecturer will have likely given that. There is a need for feedback. You must liaise with the employers of your diplomates to find out how well they do, particularly those of them that go for attachment after entry. It's part of the requirements for even admission to HND. You must be able to show that they like what they are doing or there is a need for improvement. Because that will enable us to go back to the drawing board and amend our ways so that government to their life security is assured. But unfortunately, in section 6 of section 6, paragraph 12 of the same constitution, the court's capacity to investigate any aspect of fundamental objective and directive of state policy has been removed from them. That is very unfortunate issue. You can't challenge government for not doing that. But we continue to beg them. We continue to beg them. Insurance is one of the systems to change. My colleagues, are we ready for change or not? The rector will do is one thing about appointing rector from an established school is this. After this period, whether you like or not, he's going back to Ilaro. He may want to stay because he loves you, but he owes Ilaro a duty of care to come and present his inaugural. You can see where the problem is. So you say, so are we ready to internalize these issues into our lifestyle? So please don't let us resist. Lecturers must open their minds to change. That's the truth. If they tell us this thing is not good, don't let us see it from a person's side. Let's receive it with good spirit and make a change. Yes, change within the context of resource limitations. And as a chairman, can talk exercise. Diverse formative methods are needed to better student learning goals. Use different methods to enjoy them. Capacity building. Maybe in the future, my lecturer, sir, you know, we have a place to. Conclusion and recommendations. My heart is coming down. Curriculum alignment faces challenges like outdated assessments. Our method of assessment has to change for the better. Limited resources. Yes, management is trying to go through that. They are navigating that one successfully. Despite limited resources, the management is using its goodwill to bring on board private sector investment in this institution. I dare say this with all sense of responsibility. In the area of private sector investment in this school, It now does not enjoy what the school enjoy. You know, it's private, public. That is the ones introduced by Yagi. We have so many. There must be expectation. What do we expect of our students to be? Adopting active learning and using targeted assessments. Improvement, you must continue to mentor. Don't make yourself too difficult to assess by your students. It's a bad quality of a lecturer who cannot be assessed by his students. It's so good. One more mentioned when we visited the Vice Chancellor of UI. When a lecturer, I can assure you, some of them have personal projects, they don't know who to avoid those projects to. But if you allow them to confide in you, you would have helped mankind one way or the other. Improvements in instruction are supported by regular reviews, student feedback, and professional development. Even in practice, lawyers are now saying our stamp are no longer free. You have to go for continuous professional development education before you renew your stamp. I will not job here. So we must continue to engage in control of abuse. Collaboration and mentorship foster innovation and consistency across programs. For sustained progress, institutions must enforce alignment policies. That is what management is trying to do by introducing this program. Henceforth, I'm very confident that my rector will tell us one day, whatever lecture you become your students and want to see that comes, don't let it come to us by surprise. Let us get ready for that. Upgrade technology. Management is doing that within their limited resources, and they will continue to do so that in the foreseeable future. And invest in staff training. That they are also doing even now. Leadership strengthens reform through dedicated committees. Yes. I want to thank the rector because he has chosen to operate by committee system. I learned another thing from UIBC. He said, no sole administrator vice chancellor can emerge from UI. He said, do you know that even he, as a professor vice chancellor, part of the teacher that taught him in that system are still with the new system. So what is going to tell those teachers in the Senate? And feedback system and integration of alignment into quality assurance processes. Before I go, let me thank my colleague, Dr. Tudalobi, for the job you are doing here. I am not surprised because that's a lot in the and God Almighty will work you for that effort. And then pass to the committee. Like I have said earlier on, the words are those of Dr. Utola, spoken through my voice. I may not be able to answer your question, but I will try. He has asked me to thank management, of which is a part, for creating this enabling environment. Well, my parents are visible arise. If I am an author of it, I am only an agent. Thank you very much. You will all agree with me that Barrister Timothy Oguche has done justice, to the topic. And then I think we should give him another round of applause. He has considered today emphasize on outcome-based education. And then for us to remember for more time than this, and I can put that as Obe. When you remember Obe, you will remember what Barrister Oguche education. And today, he has told us, and apart from their IT students, and today again, he has emphasized on restructuring the system. The whole educational system for us to have, again, someone like 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Time starts now. From the Department of Communication. We are to pass our students by always, whether they are okay or they are not okay.
What will you advise us on that? And what do you suggest to be the appropriate thing? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Should we answer one after the other? Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Dr. Uche, for that very wonderful delivery. My question somewhat mirrors the question of the first speaker. But mine is tilted differently. I was going to ask, how do you ensure that learning outcomes become measurable at the end of every lecture or session as it were? Particularly considering the fact that these students seem to know, and it seems peculiar to our system here, they seem to know from the outset that whether they learn or not, one way or the other, they will be deep and land and they will be passed ultimately. So how do you measure this learning outcome that you ask us to say? Thank you, sir. Okay. My question is just exactly as that of Mr. Assessment, exactly what I wanted to ask. But let me just, let's have some quiet, please. Let's have some quiet. Let's have some quiet, please. Let me just repeat what you said. In the last exam, when we were coordinating or maybe invigilating and supervising the students, I saw that we gave it lots of attention. But at the end of the day, we saw some students who didn't even do anything. Most of them. We are actually on the field. But when we collected the results, the true picture of the results, we must be sincere. 95% of them failed, or in some courses. Some, I will not say for all courses, but in some courses, a lot of students failed, and that cannot be presented. And at the point of raising them to pass grade, I felt as if I was the one writing the exam for them. So in the first place, why did we invigilate them? I think we need to overhaul that, to emphasize on what Barrister Cashman asked. So it's time for you to answer the question.
What you